Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make some easy coconut biscuits or cookies. Very easy recipe and not very many ingredients. It takes a bit of time because we make a cookie or a biscuit dough and we then chill that in the fridge for 2 hours before we roll it out and cut out the biscuits and bake them. But as I said, very, very easy. So I'll go straight on to the ingredients. And for this, I have 260 grams, which is 1 2/3 cups plus 1 tablespoon, based on scooping packed flour into a 250 milliliter cup of plain flour. 150 grams, 10 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons of unsalted butter. And mine has been out of the fridge for a good 3 hours, but it's still quite firm, but that's fine. I have 100 grams, half a cup of light brown sugar. That would be packed half cup if you're measuring by cups. I have 35 grams, which is 6 tablespoons of desiccated coconut. If you have the shredded type of coconut, I suggest you process that and make it into smaller pieces, but desiccated is best for this recipe. I have 1 medium egg, which would be large in the USA, 2 grams, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1.5 grams, a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. And that's all the ingredients. And I'm going to start off, just for ease, by putting the salt, the baking powder and the coconut into my flour, and then I'm going to give those a stir around to get those mixed together a little bit. Then I'll set that to one side until we need it. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to cream together the butter and sugar until they're nice and smooth. So I've put the butter into a larger bowl and I'll add in the sugar. And I'm going to use my hand mixer just to whisk those together until, as I said, they're nice and smooth. And it will take a couple of minutes because the butter's still quite firm. And I've got that nicely mixed together now. So then I'm going to add in my medium egg and I'm going to whisk that and get that fully combined as well. And the mixture may separate a bit, but it doesn't matter because if it does, it will simply come together once we add the dry ingredients in. And that's good enough. So then I'm going to add in all of my dry ingredients. I'm going to mix that on a low speed until it just comes together to be fully combined. And I can use a spatula to finish that if I need to. And that's mixed in quite nicely. And I'm going to put that onto some plastic wrap. And with that on the plastic wrap, I'm actually just going to give it a bit of a squeeze to get it all, make sure it's all nicely combined. And I can see the little pieces of desiccated coconut, and I'm just going to flatten that out like that. I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to chill that in the fridge for 2 hours, and after 2 hours I'll come back and we'll roll it out. I'll divide it into 2 pieces to roll it out, but we'll roll it out, and at that stage I'll have my oven preheating to 170 degrees Celsius, 150 Celsius with a fan, 340 Fahrenheit, and I'll have a baking tray lined with parchment paper or silicone mats ready to take the biscuits for baking. So I'll be back with you in 2 hours when I'm ready to roll this out. I've taken half of my biscuit dough out of the fridge. It's been chilling now for 2 hours and I have my oven preheating. So I'm going to roll this out. It's very cold, but I'm going to roll it out to a thickness of about 5 millimeters, which is roughly 1/4 of an inch or so. That will be good enough. And I'm not worrying about the shape that I'm rolling it, because I'm going to use a cookie cutter to cut it. I'll put a little bit of flour on the top to stop it from sticking, and I've floured my work surface as well. With that rolled out quite nicely, I'm going to cut out some circles, and this cookie cutter is 7 centimeters, which is about 2 3/4 inches, I think. And as I cut each one out like that, I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to make a crisscross pattern in the centre, and that's to allow the cookie to, that's to allow the biscuit, should I say, to bake without rising up in the centre. So I'm going to put that onto my baking tray, cut out the remainder and do the same with each of those. So I've got 23 rolled out and put onto the baking trays here, and I have enough biscuit dough for probably about another 9 or 10, but I'm chilling that in the fridge and I will roll those out and bake those later. So I'm going to put these into the oven and I'm going to bake them for about 20 minutes until they start to colour nicely on the top and I can see that they're baked through. Then I take them out of the oven and transfer them to a wire rack and allow them to cool down, and once they've cooled down I'll come back and we'll have a taste. I baked my easy coconut biscuits for 20 minutes. They baked up very well indeed, so I took them out of the oven and transferred them to a wire rack to cool. So I'll show you what they look like. And this is what they look like, and the eagle-eyed among you may notice that the texture on the top is different between these and these. So these are the ones which I baked on the baking tray with my silicone mat, and these I baked on a baking tray with a silicone mat which has holes in the silicone mat, and then I put another silicone mat with holes in, and I'll show you that. So here's my silicone mat, and it has holes in it, and I put that on the top, and during the baking process that then gives a nice little pattern on the top. And that's not necessary, obviously, which is why I did this first tray without, but I thought I would just show you that if you have such a thing, you can do that. The purpose of these holes is particularly for this tray to stop the biscuits from bubbling up and going hollow underneath. So I'll show you the underside, and you can see they're nice and flat and nicely baked. So having said all that, I'll have a taste of the one that I've already had a bite of. That's very, very good. It's nice and crunchy, as you can probably hear. Has a wonderful flavour of coconut, and is not overly sweet. These are going to be perfect to go with a cup of tea, and that's how I like to enjoy my biscuits, with a nice cup of tea. So a very, very easy recipe, and you don't need that special type of baking mat, as I mentioned. You can use parchment paper on a baking tray and just prick the tops as I did, and that would be just perfectly fine. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there'll be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well, and I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.